Good morning. So this is a video for our second theme. So we have finished the first theme, which is the basics of biology. So now we in number 2 theme. Okay, so throughout form 4 we have only 2 themes lah. So first theme done, so number 2 theme lah. So the altogether we have 5. Okay, so 2 theme in form 4, 3 more theme in form 5. Okay, so in theme 2 you will have about 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, 8 chapters that you can see down here. Okay, we will look a lot on physiology in human and also animal. So we will focus on human lah. Okay, then we will a little bit on animal where we need to compare. Okay, and so on. Okay, so first in this chapter, in this theme, the first chapter that we're going to see is about respiration, which is about to start after this. Then nutrition, then we have transport. Okay, then immunity, so this one is only human. Then coordination and response, okay, in human. And homeostasis and human urinary, so human also. Then we have support and movement, this one we will see animals and human. And lastly we will see the reproduction, development and growth in human and animal. So basically we will cover all the physiology process of human and also the animals. Okay, certain animals lah. Okay, we go by groups. Okay, so let's start with chapter 8. Chapter 8 is on respiratory system in humans and animals. So by looking at the title, we will see human and also animals, a few groups of animals. So what do you need to know? Okay, what do you need to know in this chapter? So firstly, we see an overall picture. So what are the different respiratory structures found in 1 group, 2 group, 3 and 4? There are 4 groups here. So one of them is human. So insect, fish, amphibian. So I hope you can bear this on in your mind lah. Okay, because we actually will look at this 4 group of animals. When we talk about animals, normally we will see in these 4. Okay, so then what are the adaptation? Okay, adaptation you have learned or you haven't learned, maybe you have seen, okay, or you heard before. Adaptation means something that is adapted. Okay, so in human, in animals, okay, they are respiratory structured. Actually they make some modification, okay, to adapt to their surrounding. Then what are the breathing mechanism found? Okay, what are the breathing? So we must know each and every one of this group, what are they? Okay, then how? Okay, how does the oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange? Okay, so that is also another important one, okay, in the chapter. Okay, and then we will see how it's being transported. Of course, when we ask how here is for all the 4 category. Okay, it's not only for human. Then last one, we will see the issue in human. Okay, so this one is the only one we will see in human. We will not see the issue in the other groups of animals here. Okay, so we will start. Okay, so overall concept, okay, 8.1, 8.2, 4 subunit. So we will go for subunit 8.1 and 8.2 lah. Okay, today we will have these 2. Okay, then the next lesson we will have 8.3 and 8.4. Okay, so this one I got from your textbook. So this respiratory system is not new lah. Okay, it's not that today or this time of this moment only you start to learn. Okay, actually throughout your life, throughout your year, especially during your form 3, okay, you learn, okay, something about gas exchange. And then during theme 1, okay, in form 4 we learn also amoeba. Okay, respiration in amoeba, the single cell. Okay, and then also we talk about, okay, the bigger size the organism, the smaller the ratio of the surface area. So we have learned this TSA over volume ratio also. Okay, if you have this ratio very big, that means it's good. Okay, it means you can do simple diffusion for gases exchange can occur easily at high efficiency. But if the value of this ratio, the ratio value of this TSA over volume is very low, meaning we need adaptation. Okay, we need adaptation. We do not, the simple diffusion is not sufficient for the gases action to support the body. So if you see 8.1 type of respiratory system, then this is A. So in your notes, maybe you can write that. Okay, here I don't put the notes, I don't put the pen anymore. So this is the point where you start to do your own notes already. Okay, I have got you with so many chapters already, so now it's your turn, correct? But I give you some hint, okay? So there are subtopic in the topic, okay? Subtopic of the subtopic. Okay, so A, okay, for example, A here, okay, respiratory structure and the adaptation. So what is important here? Okay, so adaptation of the respiratory. So if you remember, these are the 4 things that is adapted. Okay, now regardless they are the animals like fish, amphibians, or insect, or even human. Okay, their respiratory system is actually adapted. Okay, so that they have this large ratio. Okay, how to have large ratio? They have to do something lah. Later throughout the chapter, we will see how they make the the ratio become bigger or larger value. Okay, then they must have thin structure. Okay, and then it must be moist. Okay, moist, and of course last one, they must have network, means a lot. Okay, so regardless where are they or which category, in order to make sure sufficient oxygen and carbon dioxide, okay, can be released and then absorbed, okay, they must follow the 4 we call the adaptation here. Okay, so this is very important when you answer question also, when they ask about fish. So you also use these 4 what we call 4 factors here to explain, but relate it to the fish. Okay, we will see as we go on. Okay, this is a little bit on introductions on what we call this introduction on the breathing in animals. So this is for the kids lah. Just watch for a while. It's not long, just 4 minutes. Okay.
Breathing in animals. In this module, you will learn how different types of animals breathe. Sid has returned home after playing with his friends. He is breathing so heavily. It looks like he ran home immediately after playing. For breathing, as you already know, we all need air. Air enters inside our body through the nose. It then reaches the lungs with the help of windpipe that connects the nose to the lungs. Inside the lungs, there are numerous blood vessels. Through these blood vessels, gaseous exchange takes place between the lungs and blood. The oxygen moves from the lungs into the blood, while the blood releases carbon dioxide into the lungs. This carbon dioxide then moves from the lungs to the nose and then out of the body. Like human beings, all mammals such as cat, cow, and dog breathe with the help of their lungs. Apart from mammals, reptiles and birds also breathe through their lungs. However, there are a number of animals that do not have lungs. They have some other organ for breathing. Let us look at the breathing organs in aquatic animals. Look at a fish. Since a fish lives in water, it has to take in oxygen that is dissolved in water. It has special organs called gills that help it to do that. Water enters inside the body of the fish through its mouth. When this water passes through the gills, the exchange of gas takes place between gills and water. The gills take in oxygen dissolved in water and release carbon dioxide. Like fish, tadpoles, prawns, and oysters also breathe through gills. Now, let's look at the breathing organ of an amphibian. A frog is an amphibian. It lives both on land and in water. On land, it breathes through lungs, whereas in water, it breathes through its skin. Next, let us learn about breathing organs of insects. Insects have small holes on the sides of their body called spiracles. These spiracles are connected to a network of air tubes that reach to all the parts of their body. Air enters inside an insect's body through the spiracles and reaches to all parts of the body with the help of this network. Different body parts take in this oxygen and release carbon dioxide that moves out of the body through the same path. Now, there are some other animals that do not have special body parts for breathing. Instead, they breathe through their skin. For example, an earthworm. Earthworms absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide directly through their thin and moist skin. Let's recap. Mammals, birds, and reptiles breathe through their lungs. Animals like fish and tadpoles breathe through their gills. Insects breathe through their spiracles. Amphibians like frogs breathe through their lungs on land and skin in water. An earthworm breathes through its moist and thin.
Okay, so you see, this is children or kids level, so we just name the organs. But for us, we are no more kids, right? So we can actually extend. Okay, extend meaning if you put number one, mammal, bird, reptile breathe through lung. So we have to learn what's so special about the lung and how the oxygen and carbon dioxide out. Okay, then we have to use the 4 adaptation. Remember the ratio, the thin, the moist, and also the network. So if you see the last one here, earthworm. Earthworm will not see in this, in your chapter, in your textbook. But here is very easy to explain. Let's say they ask why the earthworm can breathe through the skin. Okay, because it is thin. So, and then some more, there's more important, moist skin, moist, thin, both is the adaptation, right? Okay, that one more, right? TSA volume. So how to explain TSA over volume ratio? So you can see here the size, the volume of the earthworm is very small, but the surface that is exposed to the air is quite big. So the earthworm actually has a TSA over ratio value which is quite big. So that's why, and it can move, or it can directly, okay, it can breathe in and out directly through the skin. They do not need a complicated respiratory system. Okay, so later the 1, 2, 3, 4, the top 4 we will explain. Just the earthworm, I need you to just think more a little bit. Okay, so sometimes and I know I teach according to the syllabus because I scared you all to have too much to learn, but sometimes things like this one, we call it general knowledge lah. It will help you, okay, when you get out from the school. Okay, biology actually is just life thing. Okay, so next. Okay,
Skin.
next. Okay, finish already. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so next one we will see, yes, straight to the point. So we see the each category. So this category is on insect. Okay, so the insect means those what we call 6 pair. They have six pair, like 3 pairs of leg. Okay, 6 legs or 3 pairs of legs. So you know what is the category of insect. Okay, so let's see one of the example here. This is the grasshopper. Okay, this is the grasshopper. I think in the video they mentioned, okay, they have spiracle. Spiracle is like holes, okay, for the air to go in and out. Same space or same place, okay. Then also after they go in, they will branch, trachea, tracheals, and then at the tracheal end of the tracheal, it's direct to the body cells. That means oxygen go in, reach the body cell do cellular respiration, remember? After cellular respiration, carbon dioxide go out. Okay, so same pathway. Okay, but just for special, for some higher level insects, they actually have air sac. Okay, a few air sacs. Okay, this one is like emergency storage. Okay, so instead of going one way like that out, there's some of the oxygen is actually kept inside this air sac for emergency use. Okay, for example, if they want to fly, okay, they need more energy, right? So energy more means oxygen you need more also. So this air sac will provide the energy for it to fly. Okay, not provide energy, provide oxygen, okay, for the cell to produce energy, okay, for cellular respiration. Okay, then we see the fish. Okay, same here. So in the video also they talk about gills. Okay, so of course we have the gills. Okay, now for the structure of the gill, you have to see or have to know very good. Okay, I mean in detail. So first thing, the gill, you have gill arc. Okay, gill arc is like a structure that holds. Okay, gill arc is the structure like what we call the pillar. Okay, the pillows that hold all these few gills filaments. Okay, all these are filaments. Okay, so on top of the filaments, they are actually little pieces or little fin called lamella, smaller fin. Okay, so that all this actually is based on the adaptation number 4. Okay, numerous. Okay, network. Okay, so at the lamella they will have capillary lah. So on the lamella it will fulfill the fourth also lah. Okay, by having more of these branches, so end of the day the network can work more efficiently. Okay, so you have to remember, start with gill arc, the structure. We are only seeing the structure first. Okay, we haven't seen the mechanism yet. Okay, so structured, we have gill arc. Okay, then the filament, gill filament. On the gill filament you have lamella, and then when the water go in, see, from the mouth come out from the after the filament, so from the operculum. This part of the what we call the cover, the gill, the part of the head that cover the gills are called the operculum. Okay, so I need you to know the part easily. I mean in at your tip top, I mean at your fingertip. Okay, so that is about fish. Now we have frog. Okay, frog. Okay, so again we will see the structure. So since the frog is going to breathe through the skin and the lung, okay, we have to see how the skin fulfill the 4 adaptation and also how the lung fulfill the 4 adaptation. So you can see here from the mouth, the lung is only 2 like that. Okay, and then there is not like human, we have what we call that the alveolus. We don't have alveolus here. You see the lung is just one big balloon like that. Okay, so there is no alveolus or many structured. Even they are folded, okay, but they are not as much as the alveolus that the human has. Okay, so we see the lung, so it will folded. Okay, folded lung. Okay, then it has thin, moist, and then network. So the 4 structures here. And also for the skin, you have thin, moist, and then blood capillary lah. Okay, there is no surface area one. Okay, so TSA over, actually the TSA is there. Okay, the TSA is the skin is actually you see, if you see the skin of the frog, it's not really very tight. Okay, it's actually loose like that. It's like actually the surface area is bigger. Okay, they increase the surface area like it's not like your clothes. You imagine you wear airtight lah, very tight clothes, and then another one you wear t-shirt. Okay, a swimsuit and a t-shirt. Yeah. Okay, so a swimsuit is like very tight, the surface area will be small, but for t-shirt the surface area is bigger, even though it's both covering the body. Okay, so it's like that is how it increase the surface area over ratio problem lah for the frog. Okay, then D is human lah, the last category, which is human. So here human, also I don't give you the notes, but they I just copy everything from the textbook. You just read up and then you summarize your own. But what we can see, just revision. So you have trachea. So in the video they call windpipe. Okay, so from nose go to the trachea, then bronchus, bronchus, 2 bronchus, then bronchiole. Okay, and then bronchus, bronchiole. Okay, then it branch into alveolus. Okay, so you see here the alveolus, maybe your textbook last time not so nice, right? Now it's nicer. You see got blue and red blood vessel. Actually it's the same. Okay, it's just one type of blood only. Okay, just to show oxygenated and not oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, so they put color. Okay, some people they don't like this. Okay, the net thing. Okay, you have the network. It just look like a net. Okay, so Yeah, the comparison. Okay, comparison means we have to compare. This is most important. Okay, after we learn all the structure, okay, you must know to compare and contrast. So compare, find the difference. Contrast, find the similarity. So similarity, difference. So I will not read out everything for you. Okay, you can read yourself. Okay, no problem. I don't see any difficult word here. Okay, those word that is not that is new. It's all mentioned or explained. Okay, so after that you do 8.1 . Okay, so these are the 8.1. So now we see 8.2. So mechanism of breathing. Okay, so how to breathe. So also we will put into 4 categories. Just now we have seen the structure, right, and the adaptation. So now we will see how they breathe. So breathing, basically it refer to the repetitive. Okay, repeat. Okay, repeat. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. But the thing is, it's not as easy as inhale and exhale. Who are the muscle or what are the parts that involve, okay, when the inhale and the exhale happen? So you must be able to explain on that. Okay, which part? Okay, so here for the insect is the abdominal muscle. Okay, abdominal muscle, they relax and contract. So when we have muscle, there's only 2 words you must know: relax, contract. Muscle is always relax and contract. Okay, no matter what happen. So when the abdominal muscle relax and contract, rhythmic. Okay, that means repetitively. Okay, in rhythmic order. Okay, so that means if the muscle A contract, muscle B must relax. Then they take turns. Okay, so muscle A relax, muscle B contracts. After that, muscle A contract, muscle B relax pula. So that is we call it repetitive, and then they in rhythm. They are like music. They have pitch. They have do re mi fa so. They follow orders one. They are not simply I want to contract, both contract cannot. Okay, or both relax cannot. Okay, the muscle, they are actually in antagonistic order. That means every expansion of relaxation is controlled by the muscle, a pair of muscles. So they are actually work together. Okay, so when inhale the air, inhaling air, so this one you have to memorize. No other way lah. Okay, unless you very good. Okay, you can understand, and actually we can. Okay, we understand, only to memorize. So when you inhale, you look at the insect. So when they inhale, the body is bigger or smaller? Okay, inhale, suppose the abdomen become bigger, right? So when the abdomen bigger means the volume bigger. Volume bigger, pressure is lower in the body. So pressure lower in the body, outside air is being pushed in. Okay, so how to make the body bigger? So the muscle relax, abdominal muscle relax. Okay, then after that, it causing, when the abdominal relax, volume increase, pressure decrease in the abdominal, in here. So when this happen, pressure is low inside, so air outside is being air enter. Can or not? I write again. So volume increase, pressure decrease inside the abdominal. So air is entering the body. So if you memorize this part, inhaling, so automatically exhale will be opposite. Okay, so that is for insect lah. Okay, if you cannot understand, you have to memorize. So we see this air level, okay, in the exchange in insect. I think I got 2 videos here. One is on this, another one is this. So which one you prefer? We only watch one. Okay, I think I see the more handsome guy there. Okay, this one okay. Then the simple one you can see your own. Okay, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, I let it talk lah. Okay, let him talk. Okay.
Hi guys, in this video we'll be looking at the tracheal system, gas exchange in the trachea, ventilating the tracheal system, and then we'll finish with a summary. So insects use a slightly different method of getting gases into the cells and using a different system of gas exchange than humans or fish. And even though they're very small organisms compared to us, they tend to be highly active because they're often whizzing around, and because they are often flying around and doing lots of different things, they require a constant supply of oxygen and removal of CO2. So one of the common features that insects have is called a waxy exoskeleton. So whereas most animals have a skeleton inside of them, these creatures have an exoskeleton, which is like a hard outer coating. And this helps them with some protection, and it also helps water stay inside their body in case they need to keep this for other solutions. So an exoskeleton is found on the outside of their bodies. Because of this waxy exoskeleton, gases in the air can't just effectively diffuse into their cells, they actually bounce back off. So oxygen can't get through this waxy layer because it's just too thick and the material isn't right, and CO2 that builds up in their cells can't escape either. So again, they need some sort of efficient gas exchange system that allows these gases to be exchanged at their interface. So they have evolved a specific type of exchange surface called a tracheal system, and this delivers oxygen directly to every tissue, and it removes CO2 as well. So we'll be going through some of the anatomy of this, but in general, it has openings to the airways known as the spiracles. And again, we'll look at where these can be found on the body of the insect. And then the spiracles are the openings that lead to...
Okay, the drawing make the spiracle one only, okay, but actually it's all what we call is at the side, okay. Just now, if okay, no lah, you haven't seen that video, okay. Just now, if you learn more, okay, you will know that all the spiracle is at the side of the body, okay, and then it's about 10 pairs, okay. It's about 10 pairs, so it's not like one here, okay. Just to so that you don't like teacher while is one only and then you get the misconcept, okay, because this is only 2D, okay. If you go 3D, it's all at the side, okay.
Larger airways in the system which are called trachea, and then these trachea divide into smaller tubes which are known as the tracheoles. So we're going to discuss this system in a bit more detail now. So how does gas become exchanged in the tracheal system? So it occurs mostly in fluid that exists at the end of the tracheoles called tracheal fluid, and it exists just inside the ends of these tracheoles facing towards the body. So remember what we have is we have the main tubes, which are the tracheae or trachea. These divide into tracheoles which are much smaller. So the trachea would be this tube here, and these smaller tubes would be the tracheoles. This is analogous to in the human lungs where we have one trachea and then several bronchi and bronchioles dividing off of that as well. This is the opening to the outside world, and this would be the spiracle. So essentially what happens is there is fluid at the end of these tracheoles which is in contact with the fluid and the cells of the actual body of the insect. So this fluid is where the gas exchange occurs, and this is tracheal fluid. So when the insect is resting and it isn't really doing much, the liquid seeps into the tracheoles from the surrounding cells. So at this point the liquid is entering the ends of those tracheoles and lining the airways at the very ends there. When the insect starts doing things and becomes active, the muscles that it's using draws up the fluid into the body away from the airways. And this fluid will have oxygen from the air, and this can then be used by the cells in respiration. So if you imagine now what's happening, the fly has become active and it's using lots of various muscles, and because of this, the muscles are sort of using a suction technique to get this fluid out of the tracheoles into the body of the insect. And then this fluid contains oxygen, and the oxygen can diffuse into the cells that need it. So another thing that this movement of muscles does is that it lowers the pressure in the tracheoles, drawing more air in from the outside. So if you imagine the muscles are moving, the fluid's being drawn out of the tracheoles, again using that oxygen, and then what happens is because the fluid is leaving, the pressure now goes down. And because the pressure has gone down over here, it's going to draw air in from the outside through these openings, which, as we've labelled before, are the spiracles. Finally, the third thing that we can observe when they're becoming active is that they've increased the surface area available for oxygen to diffuse down through the tracheal walls directly. So remember, again, going back to the fluid's been drawn out by the muscular activity. Air is now flowing in through the spiracles because of this new pressure loss. And what they've also done is they've increased surface area of the tracheoles overall. It may seem like by a tiny amount, but overall this would add up to quite a lot. And now any oxygen that is entering the tracheoles is able to diffuse out directly into some of the fly's tissues. As well as oxygen coming in, of course, we're allowing carbon dioxide to be diffusing back out to the air. So the tracheal system can also be ventilated, and this is really important for the introduction of fresh air. So this tends to happen in larger insects, so they can ventilate their tracheal system, and they have several different mechanisms for doing this. So in the tracheal system, sometimes you can observe these air sacs or swellings of the airways, and these can be squeezed by flight muscles to push the air in and out. So if you imagine the fly is moving around or flying, this is a muscle, and the muscle is going to be pushing and pulling on this air sac. And as it does this, air is going to be squeezed in and out, and here's the spiracle opening to the outside world, constantly refreshing the air and making it fresh. The flight muscles can also alter the volume.
So you can see here they explain in very detail, okay, every step on how it expand, how it contract the muscle, okay, in very detail. So of course we don't go so detailed, so as long as you mention the abdominal muscle contract, abdominal muscle relax, that is how you inhale, how you exhale, and then don't forget to measure pressure lah. Okay, the pressure is important.
Of the insect's thorax or the chest cavity to ventilate the tracheal systems. So you can imagine that the wings are moving and various muscles of flying are altering the shape of the thorax, and as the thorax expands, it can reduce the volume and help draw air in to those spiracles. Some insects have a more specialized breathing mechanism, and in particular this refers to larger insects like grasshoppers, and this is particularly specialized in the way that it works. The first thing that happens is their abdomen is expanded by different muscles, and this closes some of the spiracles at the back of their body whilst opening those at the front. So what we have is the abdomen expands and the spiracles contract on this end. So we actually have a closure of spiracles at the back of the body, but an entering of air in the front of the body or at the abdomen. And then once they contract the abdomen again, in the next part of the cycle, they open up the spiracles at the rear and close those at the front. So now they've alternatively opened and closed these spiracles. And now that these are open, the CO2-filled air can exit these spiracles. So it's an alternating opening of back spiracles or front spiracles, which drives oxygen in and then carbon dioxide out. And this is a specialized breathing mechanism found in some larger insects. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for an amazing A-level biology resource, join me today.
So this is A level, okay? So it's very high, higher lah. When you go from 6, it may be used this, okay? So when you go for higher level, okay, so this may be more useful lah, especially in grasshopper, because actually we not really talking about grasshopper. We go on more general, expand, inhale. As long as you get the pathway correct, then it's good already, okay? So that is on grasshopper or the insect. To be exact, is in the insect lah. Okay, so this one you just wash yourself. Okay, it's also on the grasshopper. That one is more general, okay? So now we see the breathing mechanism in the frog. Okay, frog is a bit different. Okay, remember just now the structure is the skin and the lung. Okay, the skin and the lung. So that means these two structure, they must work together. So what we can see here, skin, not much of what we call inhale, exhale. There is nothing like inhale, exhale. Okay, skin is just diffuse in, diffuse out only, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Okay, so now for the lung to work, okay, they need to get in air. So the frog do not have complicated lung. They do not have complicated respiratory structure. Our lung is complicated because it's in the rib cage some more, and then it's helped when we breathe. It's helped by the diaphragm. Okay, later you will see at the back lah. But here frog, they do not have that diaphragm. So how to make the lung get oxygen or get the air? So the air is getting by like swallowing. Okay, you see here we have new term. Okay, you have new term here. We call it buccopharyngeal. So buccal means mouth cavity, pharyngeal means the throat cavity. So when we combine, we call it buccopharyngeal. So this is a new word. Okay, you must know. Okay, that means it's a region or the cavity between the mouth and the throat. So when the air or when the frog want to get the air in, okay, they will actually lower the buccal cavity. Means it's like make this area bigger so that it fill up with all the air lah. Okay, we don't know is oxygen or whatever air lah. So just air, but the what we call that, The more specific is they want oxygen, so they put a lot of oxygen. After that, they raise it. When they raise it, it's something like it's push, and then it swallow the air, okay? And then enter the lung. So when the air enter the lung, okay, so that is the time exchange of gases, okay? And then end of the day, they will push again, the glottis open, and then the air will go out from the nostril. Okay, so imagine, you see here, okay, when they take in the air, okay, the air can enter, from the nose, okay, air enter from the nose, so that the mouth closed, so that the air can, the cavity of the buccal pharyngeal is bigger, so the air enter through the nose. After that, they like push up the cavity or raise up. After the air enter the glottis, enter the lung, okay, they take in the oxygen, okay, then carbon dioxide is released, right? So it have to go out, so it will go through the nostril, okay, so you can see the nostril open at the end. So that is exhale, then here is inhale lah, okay, can. So that is how we see the frog breathing. So in your book, okay, they give you these notes down here, so you can just read again or just do your notes, okay. So that one I will not give you, so I won't write the notes for you, okay. You practice yourself. It's not difficult actually, this chapter, that's why I let you on do, okay. Then we see the little bit videos on frog.
Respiratory organs in amphibians. Have you observed a frog or a toad sitting quietly? You would have noticed that though its mouth is closed, the flow of its mouth keeps going up and down. This is because it is breathing through its mouth. Unlike humans, amphibians can breathe through lungs, through their skin, and also by using gills. Unlike birds and mammals, amphibians are cold-blooded, so they don't use up any energy for keeping their bodies at a constant temperature. This means their cells aren't working as hard as warm-blooded animals like us, and they don't need as much oxygen. In this module, let's learn about pulmonary respiration and cutaneous respiration in amphibians. Respiration through lungs is known as pulmonary respiration. The frog breathes through lungs while on land, or when it is floating on the surface of the water. It takes in...
Okay, remember pulmonary, okay, pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary means lung, okay, you will see again this in chapter 9, chapter 10. Chapter on transport, okay, on 10, yeah. Okay, so pulmonary, this is, I don't think it's new, okay, pulmonary mean lung,
air through the nostrils into the mouth by lowering the flow of the mouth or the buccal cavity, keeping the mouth closed.
Okay, they say through the mouth, it doesn't mean it open the mouth. Through the mouth means using the mouth only, okay, using the mouth by changing the cavity, okay, the volume of the cavity, but air is entering through the nostril. So you see the arrow, okay, where the air enter.
Next, the nostrils are closed and the passage between the mouth cavity and lungs is opened. The flow of the buccal cavity is raised and air is forced into the lungs. Exchange of gases takes place in the lungs as well as the lining of the buccal cavity. Oxygen diffuses in and carbon dioxide diffuses out. Amphibian lungs are a bit different from our lungs. Our lungs are spongy and full of tiny little sacs called alveoli. These alveoli increase the amount of surface that oxygen can enter our bodies through. Since amphibians don't need as much oxygen as humans, they don't have as many alveoli either. The way amphibians use their lungs is different from humans too. Humans have a diaphragm beneath their lungs that causes the air to rush in and out. Amphibians don't have diaphragms, and they have to force air into their lungs by moving their mouth like we do when we are swallowing. Respiration through the skin is known as cutaneous respiration. The skin on amphibians is very thin.
Okay, cutaneous is skin. In biological term, cutaneous is skin. That's why it's called cutaneous respiration. Okay.
And is richly supplied with blood capillaries. The water carries oxygen with it, which diffuses into the capillaries, and the carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses out. That's why most amphibians have to live in moist places, where there's water nearby.
Okay, so that is on frog. Okay, so after frog we will see fish. Okay, so how the fish breathe now? So we have gills, right? Remember fish we have gill. Previously we have said that the fish breathe through the gills, so where the oxygen is taken in and out. So just now in the video also we have, the previous one, okay, with the kids one. So we see that the water is being drawn in. See, in here means the water go in, okay. So when they take in water, actually the gills helps to filter out the air, oxygen, okay, to be exact, the oxygen in the water, okay, from the gills, through the gills. Okay, after it filter, okay, you see the arrows, so enter the gills. So you see when the water is taking in from the mouth, here the operculum should be closed. Okay, remember operculum, the cover, okay, the head cover that the gills, so they close it, so when they get in air. Okay, then when they want, after the air is taken, so they will open up the operculum, and now this mouth is closed. Okay, that is exhalation. So this one way we call it one way direction of the water, okay, ensure that all the oxygen in the water is being taken up by the gills. Okay, and then you have to notice lah, even though I say open and close, but it happens so fast. Okay, if you observe in the aquarium, so when the mouth of the fish is closed, okay, the operculum is open, but when the operculum closed, the mouth should be open. So it's happened quite fast lah. Okay, so maybe you have to really sit down and see. And then what makes it go in? Because of the pressure is low inside here. So what makes the pressure low? When you open the mouth, volume increase. Okay, volume increase, pressure decrease, so the air is in what we call drawn in. Okay, that is for fish. So in your textbook also they put in the wording. Okay, the wording here you can just read out how it happened. And then the word is buccal cavity. No more buccal pharyngeal. Buccal means mouth. Okay, so this is really the mouth. There is no throat here. Okay, there is no throat, there is no sound made. Okay, so there's only buccal cavity. Different. Then we have opercular cavity, which is the operculum side. This part is called operculum cavity. This is called the buccal cavity. Okay, then pressure, yes, and then so on. So you can see that in your textbook. I don't want to read the book. Okay, you can read yourself. So this video is on the fish. Okay, a very short one. Okay, 3 minutes only. We watch together.
Fish are aquatic animals. Water contains oxygen dissolved in it. Depending on temperature and other factors, the level of dissolved oxygen in water is about 4 to 15 milligrams per liter. Fish extract this dissolved oxygen from the surrounding water by a process called aquatic respiration. Fish have specialized structures called gills to carry out exchange of gases with water. The gills are located on either side of the head of fish, behind the mouth cavity. In bony fish, the gills are covered by a hard, bony flap called the operculum. It is also known as gill cover. In cartilaginous fish, the operculum is lacking, and the individual openings to gills are called gill slits. During the process of exchange of gases, a fish first gulps water through its mouth. At the time of the intake of water, the mouth opens while the operculum remains closed. The fish then closes its mouth and opens the operculum to force the water out through the gills. The color of the gills is dark red or brown red because of the presence of a large number of blood capillaries in it. These capillaries come in close contact with the current of water crossing the gills. Blood absorbs the dissolved oxygen from the water by diffusion. The unique structure of the gills ensures that they absorb most of the oxygen dissolved in the water that is passing between them. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide from the blood diffuses out of the gill capillaries into the water. The water containing carbon dioxide is expelled through the open operculum. Besides being the respiratory organs, the gills also play an important role in maintaining the balance of salts in fish. Fishes like bluegill, seahorse, lionfish, Atlantic cod possess the hard cover of operculum. The best example of a fish having no operculum is shark. All the species of shark lack operculum and have only gill slits.
Okay, so we have seen the fish. Okay, so this is simple one. Okay, the simplest that I can get. Okay, so basically after the fish, last one, human. Okay, so how human breathe now? So when I ask you to breathe, you say, oh teacher, I breathe, I expand my lung lor. Okay, but actually, what is the first step? Yes, the first step is actually the muscle. Okay, intercostal muscle will contract. Okay, then it will cause the rib cage, okay, to move downward and inward, and then exhale. This one is exhale. Then the diaphragm will relax. Okay, then curve become a dome. Okay, this one I think from 3 you have learned. Okay, then the volume. The volume of the thoracic reduce, so pressure increase. Then the air is pushed out. Okay, so why I choose exhale instead of inhale? So you have to memorize the steps. Okay, but I choose this exhale because it's easier. Okay, because I want the word X here. Okay, I want the X. Okay, I want the X. Okay, why I want the X? Because remember I said every muscle is in 2. Okay, so intercostal muscle also got one pair. Okay, one is called external intercostal, another one is internal. So I use the exhale one because it's easier for me to memorize. So because exhale I have the X, right? So it start with the external relax. So when external relax, automatically internal will contract. Remember I say they work terbalik, okay, in other way, another method, opposite direction, okay, opposite way. Okay, so that is why I choose exhale. So I want the X there. Okay, then secondly, the rib cage will move downward. So this one you no need to memorize pun. Okay, you just exhale, so you feel your rib cage is going down and then in. Okay, so first is the muscle, second is the rib cage. Okay, down and in. Then third step, so when it go down and then go in, so it means the diaphragm will become a dome. Okay, so relax again. So X, you see, X. So diaphragm muscle relax, become a dome. That's why I want to memorize the exhale. Okay, so I know many things to memorize. A lot of things you will get confused. It's not you don't understand, just that you forget which one is relax, which one is contract. That's why I will go for this relax, for exhalation. So step 4. Now what happens when the volume and when the rib cage go down and then inward? So the volume decrease. Volume you can think as space. So when the rib cage make the space smaller, so volume becomes smaller lor. So you have learned the Pascal law. Okay, I think if so far I remember lah. So volume and pressure, they always work opposite. Okay, when volume decrease, pressure will decrease. When the volume increase, pressure will decrease. So here you reduce the volume, the pressure increase. So pressure in the cavity increase, it will push the air out from the lung. So that is how we memorize the exhalation, the steps. Okay, so let's see the next one. I think no more. Okay, yeah, there's the videos on this. Okay, on exhalation. So I think this is quite easy. Okay, I mean you can watch this part 1 and part 2 on your own. Okay, we will watch this one. Okay, the easier one, I mean the more straight to the point one. Okay, breathing mechanism.
The process of exchanging gas through nose is called breathing. Breathing involves 2 steps. 1. Breath in or inhalation or inspiration. And 2. Breath out or exhalation or expiration. Inhalation process starts with movement of diaphragm downward and movement of sternum outward. Because of these movements, space gets created in lungs and air gets sucked in through nostrils.
Okay, this one too simple. Okay, even the intercostal muscle they skip. Okay, actually it start before diaphragm, it should be intercostal muscle, and then this one is inhale, right? So it make the pressure inside is low. Okay, by increasing the space.
As we breathe in, different gases in surrounding with big and small dust particles enter through nostrils. Hairs in nostrils stop the big dust particles. As the remaining gases including small dust particles and microbes reach to nasal cavity, microbes gets removed by mucus, and cilia removes the small dust particles. Mucus also makes air moisten and capillaries in the nasal cavity make the air warm. After purification, air enters the windpipe where it further gets purified by mucus and cilia. Total air gets divided by bronchi and enters the lungs where it further gets divided by bronchioles. And finally all the gases reach to millions of alveoli. Alveoli is covered with large number of blood vessels, and due to diffusion, only oxygen gas passes into the blood vessels and all other gases stay in alveoli. Inside blood vessel, oxygen combines with hemoglobin present in the blood to form oxyhemoglobin. This compound then reaches to heart which pumps it to different cells in.
Okay, this part we will see in the 8.3 and 8.4. Okay, so
The body.
Up lah. Okay, finish 1 more minute only.
In the cells, oxygen is used for energy generation. In this process carbon dioxide is produced. Carbon dioxide gets absorbed by blood and reaches to heart. From here, heart pumps this blood to lungs where carbon dioxide gets diffused to alveoli. To get fresh supply of oxygen, alveoli needs to be emptied. Gases in alveoli are emptied by the process called exhalation or expiration. In this process, sternum moves inwards and diaphragm moves upward. These movements pressurize the gases to move out of lungs through nostrils. Movement of diaphragm and sternum is controlled by brain. This exhaled air includes carbon dioxide and all those gases, which were taken in but were not absorbed by blood at alveoli.
Alright, so that is on the exhalation and inhalation. Okay, so we will go to the next slide. Okay, which is the comparison. So the last one is compare and contrast, just like just now. Okay, we have the compare means different, contrast means similarity. So here in your textbook you say similarity and differences. So your textbook have did a very good job for you already, so you just need to what we call understand only. Okay, not much of words that I need to explain here. So after that, you do your 8.2. So 8.1 just now and 8.2. And that's all for our class today. Thank you. Okay, any question you can stay on and then ask.